Judy Alvarez is regarded as one of the best romance options for Cyberpunk. Granted, there are only 4 to choose from, but the debate between Judy and Panam rivals only that of Triss and Yennefer. Everyone seems to just love Judy, but what if I told you she's actually a very toxic girlfriend and borderline psychotic personality? Like, more toxic than the water in Laguna Bend. A while back, I made a video about River Ward being a total psychopath. It was a fun, intentional misinterpretation and embellishment of his behaviors for comedic effect. And for the most part, people understood that. Well, roughly 70% of people, at least. However, this video is more of a serious character analysis, but it's still a fun video for entertainment, so don't get offended by this video. Seriously, some of you take this game and its characters way too seriously. Even though Judy is extremely toxic and has like 26 red flags, I'm gonna be honest, I'm kinda into it. So we're gonna talk about Judy's role in the main story along with her side quests, relationship history, and everything that happens after you romance her. So let's go ahead and get into why Judy Alvarez is the worst romance option in Cyberpunk. You first meet Judy during the main story when you meet with Evelyn Parker, the woman who hired you to steal the Arasaka biochip from Konpeki Plaza. Judy is just a friend of Evelyn, or more accurately, Judy has feelings for Evelyn, but she doesn't like her back. Judy's job is to help you watch the BD that Evelyn recorded of Konpeki Plaza, so you can do some basic recon. You can talk to Judy afterwards, but you won't see her again until after the heist.
I hope to see you again.
Depends. On what? Whether you come alone or with a tag along, like a net runner.
No runners, I promise.
Now, on the surface, Judy may seem like just another wholesome Night City babe. However, once you start to dig a little deeper, you realize just how toxic Judy actually is. Once the heist at Konpeki Plaza is a total bust, you wake up in your apartment after some time has passed. You try to message Evelyn to get her help with the relic, but you are not able to get a hold of her, so you contact her friend Judy instead. Judy immediately treats you with extreme hostility and like total garbage, assuming the absolute worst of you, that you're trying to find Evelyn to get back at her for the heist, even though that makes absolutely zero sense because she is the one who commissioned it. And Judy knows this, but chooses to ignore that fact, for reasons we will discuss later. You'll get into an argument with Judy, and she just won't listen to anything you say. The version of you that she made up in her mind is how she sees you, and nothing you say will ever change that. You even tell her that the relic you stole is in your head and is slowly killing you.
Biochip we clept during the heist is killing me, albeit slowly. Evie commissioned the job. Might know how to stop that.
While looking for Evelyn Parker, you meet up with Judy again, and both of you make your way to the Scav hideout and bring her home. Afterwards, Judy scrolls through Evelyn's memories and finds out that Evelyn was the one who commissioned the heist, even though you already told her that, twice I might add, and Evelyn already told her that. You also tell her once again about the relic and what's on it, where she mockingly whistles at you like you're crazy. Eventually, Evelyn Parker will make like Hannah Baker and commit the 13th reason, and Judy wants your help avenging her death. I think Evelyn already took care of that one. So she wants to take over and liberate clouds. And I'm using that term loosely. But fast forward a couple of missions, you meet at Judy's apartment to discuss the plan alongside a couple of her friends and her ex-girlfriend. And afterwards, you will have a relic malfunction, and Judy will ask what's wrong with you. Where for the 3rd time, you will tell her about the relic. And this time, she will finally listen.
What the hell, V? You, like, sick?
Remember the heist Evelyn hired us for? The relic I was gonna clep? That biochip? Well, long story short, it had Johnny Silverhand's mind on it. An engram of it that's overriding my mind.
You being serious?
Truly wish I wasn't.
Now before you meet with Judy and her friends at her apartment, you first have to meet with Maiko, Judy's corpo ex-girlfriend, in her office at Clouds, where you will try to recruit her to help take over and liberate Clouds. But while we are here, Maiko actually has a laptop that we can snoop through, and we can find some old emails between her and Judy with some spicy deets about how Judy behaves while in a relationship. The first email starts off as just, I miss you, let's hang out more. Which may not seem like much, but it comes across as Judy being codependent, which is something we'll talk about more in a bit. Later in the same email, Maiko mentions how she had the bartender at Clouds bring her up a few bottles of champagne so her and Judy could have their own private event. And Judy's response is borderline psychotic. She says, "Why does she come to see you so often? She couldn't have just left it for you? I don't know what she wants, but I don't believe in that just being nice BS. Sit her down, she's really starting to piss me off." And every other message she sends contains a sexual comment, which only further backs Judy's codependency. The next set of messages between Judy and Maiko gets a little bit juicy. Judy tried to go to Maiko's office but was denied, so she sent a message of her accusing her of crossing a line. Maiko responds by saying, "Calm down and stop throwing a fit. I have to keep up some semblance of professionalism. Don't think I can't lose it all because of a little carelessness." Judy tells Maiko that she doesn't care about the rules since she had Judy fix her doll chip so she could have an unfair advantage against the other girls. Where Maiko responds with, "I don't know why you can't trust me. It's not like I started out wanting to manage the place. Don't you think I'm doing this for us? I'm thinking about our future. I thought that would be proof enough of my commitment. Looks like for some reason, it just pisses you off." Judy's last message says, "You've ascended and left me back here in the real world. I didn't think it was possible to hate the city even more, but you went and did it." And in the next set of messages, Maiko tries to invite herself over to calmly talk about things with Judy, because she wants to work on their relationship. But Judy responds with, "As far as I'm concerned, we're done talking. I've buried it and no way am I digging it back up again. Just tell me when you're coming and I'll leave your stuff at the door. Don't ring the bell or knock cause I won't answer." Judy clearly comes off as completely codependent. Codependency, specifically in relationships, is when someone cannot function without constant reliance on a partner and need to constantly spend time with them. The type of person who will get into a relationship just so they can be in a relationship, which is the kind of behavior Judy displayed with Evelyn earlier in the story. But a more blanket term for this would be high maintenance. These are the types of people who usually can't go 5 minutes without making a sexual comment either. People within codependent relationships feel the need to constantly make everything sexual to overcompensate for the lack of any real emotional connection, which is evident within Judy's messages to Maiko. Maiko takes the manager job so she could provide a better life for her and Judy, and Judy's response is to accuse her of leaving her behind, all because she can no longer have sex with her in her office during work hours. Codependents usually are always bitter and looking for a reason to get pissed off, and find a scapegoat to blame for their behavior. Usually it's the other person in the relationship, but others can include the patriarchy, capitalism, or some other entity that has nothing to do with their misfortune. But in Judy's case, it's Night City. She blames the city for her bad behavior and poor choices. She ruined her own relationship and blamed Night City, rather than blaming her own insecurities. This kind of behavior also proves that Judy is not just acting this way because of the trauma of Evelyn's death. She has always been this way, and is probably the reason Evelyn never liked her back. Judy clearly isn't in the right mindset for a relationship of any kind. Maiko even says that she's always been unstable, which is pretty obvious if you snoop through her computer.
Yeesh, you've always been unstable.
Now while we're on this topic, I want to take a look at the official release of Judy's dating profile, which was promotional art that was released on Twitter, or X, back on Valentine's Day. Judy, 24, she, her, rainbow flag, brain dance technician and editor. I love my independence more than anything, and I can't stand injustice. When it comes to relationships, I want quality over quantity, so swipe left if you're looking for one-night stands. Now people were quick to point out Judy is as codependent as they come. The thing about these dating profiles, which were released for every romance option, is that they are extremely accurate to the characters' personalities. Codependents usually have a false image of themselves in their head. Judy claims to love her independence, but follows the status quo, by not only putting a she, her, and a rainbow flag in her bio, but also going out of her way to claim that she hates injustice, along with the fact that she's completely codependent when it comes to relationships. She claims that she prefers quality over quantity, but as we saw on Maiko's computer, that's a complete and total lie. She claims to hate one-night stands, but she puts out on the first date. The kind of girl that thinks sex work is empowering.
Always wondered, why the smut industry?
Isn't it obvious? 2 minutes of real feels a week's pay.
Sure, but I thought someone like you wouldn't be into the whole objectification thing.
Objectification. Not in my virtues. My actors love what they do, and that's why everyone wants to feel them.
The thing about codependents is that they need to believe they have a real connection, when it's really just a sexual one, which is why she'll have sex on her girlfriend's work desk every night, and put out on the first date, while simultaneously claiming to hate one-night stands. But speaking of putting out on the first date, after you finish your mission to liberate clouds, which was ultimately unsuccessful, Judy invites you out to the lake to go diving. And after you almost drown, she invites you inside to stay the night, where things get a little spicy. You'll wake up the following morning and meet Judy out on the dock, where she will ask you what last night meant to you. If you tell her it was just a one-time thing, she will get very upset and go inside to cry. So at least she was honest about hating one-night stands. But if she hates one-night stands so much, she should probably keep her legs closed. However, if you tell her what she wants to hear, that last night was special, then you'll start a committed relationship. Of course, if you invite her over to your apartment as part of the I really want to stay at your house quest, there's no issues. You can cuddle, you can dance, and you can even get Judy to slap you on the butt. So there's no issue with this. After all, this is just fan service. However, things get a little different during the post-romance content. Judy's text messages are very frequent, at least once per day. She always finds a reason to message you. Now this on the surface isn't really an issue. There's nothing wrong with a girl who constantly thinks about you. But we can't forget the previous context, especially compared to Panam's text messages, which are much less frequent, as she actually has other stuff to do, with leading the Aldecaldos and doing her own merc work. However, you do get a new text message from Judy as part of Phantom Liberty, after you complete the very long intro to the DLC and get the ability to come and go from Dogtown as you please, you will receive a text from Judy asking where you've been. Since during the DLC, Songbird hacked your systems and made it so no one else could contact you for at least a couple of days. After you explain your situation to her, she will respond with, "You know where to find me and how to make up for blowing me off. I don't like being taken for granted." All because you didn't text her back for a couple of days, as if any of that was even your fault to begin with, showing she has no regard for your health or well-being. And this may be entering tinfoil hat territory, but it's almost like she's just waiting for you to die so she can move on. Since Panam is trying to quite literally turn the world upside down to find a way to save you, even if you don't romance her. It just feels like Judy is simply waiting for you to die and doesn't care that you don't have much time left. The Phantom Liberty DLC also added a brand new ending to the base game, where if you either gave Songbird over to Solomon Reed during the Killing Moon, or refused to kill her during Somewhat Damaged, you'll be contacted by Reed after a few days, and he will tell you that the surgeons are ready. You can go to Misty's rooftop and contact him immediately, or you can meet with Hanako and contact him there. You will be transported to a medical center and sedated, only to wake up 2 whole years later. You'll have the chance to call your friends to see what they've all been up to, only to find out that they have all moved on. Judy, however, is the worst one of all. She ended up growing out of her edgelord or edgelady emo phase and grew her hair out. Turns out that as soon as you were gone, she left Night City and got married.
I'm in Pittsburgh, and I'm married.
Bruh.
Judy probably got married to the girl she was texting behind your back. I jest, of course, but to be married only 2 years later, she would have had to actually pack up and move, travel across the country, move into her new place, meet some new girl who also happened to be a lesbian, which is roughly 3 to 7% of all women, then date her long enough to know that she wants to spend the rest of her life with her. Go through planning a wedding, which alone would take up to a year or more, and then actually get married. A process that usually takes much longer than 2 years. So Judy must have planned this out from the start, or at the very least it backs up my tinfoil hat theory that Judy had some other girl lined up for when you finally snuffed it. Maybe she found her on that dating app. Who knows? But the point is, she was ready to move on to someone else after not hearing back from you. When codependent women don't get their fix of codependency, they'll move on to someone who will. And besides, after Evelyn died, Judy started immediately flirting with you with the riz of a teenager. So what does all of this tell us about Judy? Well, Judy is insecure, immature, and very codependent. probably because of her abandonment issues caused when she was a child. You can find this detail by asking Judy about her childhood during your date with her at Laguna Bend. And then you can hear a memory of hers where kids make fun of her for being too poor to afford parents, clearly showing her insecurities with abandonment.
She can't even afford to have parents.
Judy doesn't know how to form a real connection. She doesn't know how to communicate and only knows how to express her emotion through intercourse. She goes into the relationship with you expecting it to end one day, which is a terrible way to get into a relationship, whereas someone like Panam goes into the relationship with you knowing you're going to die, but is determined to help you find a solution. The only reason I keep comparing Judy to Panam is to demonstrate what a healthy relationship looks like, which is something Judy has no experience with. So the real question is Judy worth feeling sympathy for? When all is said and done, everything bad that happens to Judy is entirely her own fault.
She's all over the place. Refuses to take the door, jumps out a window, then acts all surprised when she gets hurt.
There you have it. That's why Judy is the worst romance option in Cyberpunk. If you want to see more Cyberpunk and other RPG related content, then feel free to subscribe. And make sure to follow me on X/Twitter for future updates.